When I was in high school, my mom and I used to go on these long walks every Sunday, probably about 6 miles. And we'd always have the best conversations. We call them walkie talkies. We'd get out and walk and talk, and it felt so good to have those good conversations and think deeply about things and not have the interruptions, you know? Walks are good for that. I've had a lot of thoughts lately that I wanted to share, and thought maybe we'd give it a try, take you guys out on a walkie-talkie and have a little chat together. We've started getting our first cold spells around here, and the mornings have a little nip in the air, and you know, it falls right around the corner, which means that winter comes after that, as we all know. And it's really gotten me thinking about seasonal depression. The last couple of years have hit me a lot harder with my seasonal depression than they ever have, and it's been consistent enough that I'm really feeling like I need to prepare so I'm not caught off guard this time. I've been diagnosed with anxiety and depression for a couple of years now, so I've been conscious about what things help and what things hurt. And I wanted to share some of the things that have been helpful for me that I'm planning on applying more this winter season, and some of the things I've been learning about recently that I'm going to be trying out. So let's get started. Treat, huh? The first thing I want to talk about is audiobooks and podcasts. I think if there's anything that has consistently helped me, it's listening to audiobooks and podcasts. There's something about listening to somebody else talking that just kind of gently eases me out of my own headspace. And it's something that doesn't feel overwhelming to do. When I'm in the thick of depression, I know that going for a walk would help me, but I can't always do it. But I can always just turn on something to listen to. And I love that resource for its gentleness and its approachability. I like to keep kind of a good range of topics available. So I follow several different podcasts. Some of them are funny, some of them are deep and introspective, some of them are just practical tips. And it's been really helpful for me to have access to that range so that I can just turn on something that I'm in the mood for and just get my brain going in a different direction. It's been really helpful for me. Another thing that's been really helpful for me is just to schedule one outing per week. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but anything more than that just got overwhelming. But I found that going on the one scheduled outing kind of got my momentum going so that I would go out more throughout the rest of the week too. This winter, my one scheduled thing was going to story time at the library with my kids. And that was really nice because every week we had new books to read, and it was just a kind of a low expectations kind of a trip that also kind of benefited us all week long. I don't know what we're going to do this year because our library is not doing story time right now for obvious COVID reasons. Maybe we'll just still go to the library. I don't know what we'll do this year. But along those same lines, something that I've found is really helpful is to get out into some like actual fresh air and not the city quote unquote fresh air. My region consistently ranks as like the worst air quality in the nation year after year in the winter. And not because our cities are big, but because the mountains, the way that they're positioned, just kind of trap all the smog. It gets really bad. And as overwhelming as it is to have to load up all the kids and all of their winter gear to go do something up in the mountains, it's really helpful to go and breathe some actual oxygen. Some days I just kind of force myself to pack up all of their winter stuff and to get everybody dressed in their winter clothes and go trudging through the mountain snow somewhere. And we're always grateful that we did it in the end. But some days I can't make myself do that, and it's honestly helpful even just to put the kids in the car seat and drive up the canyon with the windows down but the heater blasting, and just let the mountain air come into the car. Sometimes I'll also give the kids blankets just so they're not freezing. Seems kind of lame, but it helps, and it feels way more manageable on my really bad days than thinking about putting on coats, hats, mittens, snow pants, boots, and all the layers that go underneath those things. Anyway, that is one thing that's been really helpful for me too. Sampa, come! One thing that I really love doing in the winter is scheduling in gentle mornings where I just wake up and curl up with a good book and a blanket and something warm to drink and give myself an hour to just relax. I know a lot of people will say, you know, to exercise first thing in the morning to get your blood pumping, and that makes sense, but it doesn't work for me, at least not in the winter. The last thing in the world that I want to do in the winter is get out of my warm, cozy bed to go step into the freezing cold darkness and run. But if I know that when I get out of bed, I get to curl up in a different blanket in a different spot and read a book that I'm looking forward to and just be gentle with myself, then I can do that. And often I find that giving gentleness to myself at the beginning of the day makes it so that I continue spreading that gentleness throughout the rest of the day to myself and to those that are around me. And along those lines, I think there's something to be said for just leaning into the slowness of the season. You know, everything in the natural world slows down during winter. A lot of things go into total hibernation. I think it's okay for us to have a semblance of hibernation in our lives. I'm not saying that we need to just sleep all winter long, but maybe we sleep a little extra. Or maybe we just do gentle things for the cold month. And maybe it's not about physical gentleness, but about emotional gentleness. Does that make sense? Just giving ourselves some extra grace when the weather is cold. I think that's a natural pattern to follow. The earth works its way through seasons for a reason. It's designed to have ebbs and flows, and so are we. I'm really working on learning how to lean into that. And it's hard because culturally, we want to be steadily productive all the time. And that's just not how we're designed. We're not supposed to be constantly outputting things. We need some time to rest and recover and restore things within ourselves that we need to be able to be productive again. We're not machines. We're living creatures that need rest, both physically and mentally and emotionally. I don't know, I'm starting to view my seasonal depression as a cue that my body gives me for more rest. Like, maybe it's not that something is wrong with me. Maybe what's wrong is how much I'm expecting myself to do. I don't know, winter's really hard. And I think that's okay. I think it's okay to acknowledge that and hold space for the fact that it's hard, and just be gentle with ourselves. You know, no matter how many tips and tricks we apply to make winters more manageable or even enjoyable, we're still gonna have really awesome days and we're gonna have really awful days. And regardless of how many we have of each, winter will come and go. And I just think it's really important for us to learn how to be gentle with ourselves in the process, and to be okay with the fact that not every day is going to be a good day, and that probably during the winter we're going to have more hard days than we do during the summer, and that's all right. I'm really working on learning how to incorporate and statements into my life, that I can work to make winter better for myself and for my family, and winter can just be inherently more difficult. You know, I think it's important to learn how to do that. I think it's healthy, and I think it's worth learning and leaning into. But I'm hoping this opens up a conversation. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments about what works for you or what hasn't worked for you, what your experience has been like in navigating the challenging times of winter months or depression in general. I'm also a firm believer that community helps a lot, and it makes a big difference to know that we're not alone. At least for me, I know it's a lot easier to push through the hard times when I've got a community with me, and I'm hoping we can create some of that here. Thank you for joining me on this walkie-talkie chat. Hope to talk to you again soon.